There it is. So, SmackDown. It was the Halloween edition. I was hoping it would be a treat and it would be canceled, but it was a trick and it was on. So, it started with it started actually with the introduction of Vince McMahon via a very badly edited in ring announcer. And Vince was in the studio announcing that the month of November would be free on the network. And he began to calmly go, yes, yes, yes. And they cut to the crowd going crazy with yes, yes, yes chants. I'm assuming by now you've addressed this on one of your shows.
I think everybody is well aware of what happened, yes.
Yes, they had Big Show come out and say, everyone chant yes for Daniel Bryan, and the crowd did, and then they edited this into a commercial. Amazing.
Yeah, I was amazed. What amazed me most about it was how upset people were about it, because on the grand scheme of historical WWE manipulative efforts, this was very low on the list.
Sure.
If you don't know what happened, they had Big Show come out during the tapings, and he said that Daniel Bryan was probably going to need another surgery. And so he said to make Daniel Bryan feel better, let's all do a yes chant. And so everybody chants yes, yes, yes. So I don't know, Vinny, if you have seen the original Vince McMahon video that they did not air on SmackDown. Have you seen this yet?
I can't say that I have.
But I played it on the show, right? Did I play it on this show?
I don't think so.
I thought I did. Maybe it was on the Todd show. Anyway, suffice to say, this was the most uncomfortable I've ever seen Vince McMahon. He was so awkward leading this yes chant. So he leads this terrible yes chant on the video. And as Vinny noted, this was all the setup because this video was taped a week ago. They knew the network number far in advance. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like all of a sudden Vince McMahon finds out how many network subscribers they have on Thursday. They knew well in advance, and so they had planned out this free month. And so they had Vince shoot the video, and then they had the Big Show do the Daniel Bryan thing, and then they spliced it all together so it looked like everybody was going crazy for this this free month. That's what Vince was plugging, a free month. So the idea was everybody was going crazy for it, but really they were manipulating this chant for Daniel Bryan. So a lot of people are very up in arms about this, but I don't really know why because, I mean, I can understand if you are, but dude, they do shit like this all the time. What's everybody upset about? This is low on the list.
Yeah, I'm not angry. I probably shouldn't even be surprised. It just seems it's just par for the course.
Yeah, it's par for the course. They've been doing stuff like this for 60 years or whatever.
Yeah. Then we had a Divas costume contest battle royal. Paige was dressed as Summer Rae, allegedly. I never would have guessed this if the announcers had not told me. Natalya was the Queen of Hearts.
I thought she was Emma.
Oh, Paige?
Yeah.
Naomi was a paratrooper. Summer was, quote, a schoolgirl nerd. Layla was a clown or maybe a mime. Emma was like a cave woman. Rosa was a zombie nurse. Cameron, ironically, was a cop. Alicia was a firefighter. And then Nikki Bella was a black cat.
Yeah.
They had a backstage skit. Brie Bella was not on the show. In real life, she had some PR thing to go do. But their explanation for her not being there was Nikki forcing her to dress like Daniel Bryan, including a fake beard, and then drive hours out of her way to go get a handbag.
That's right.
That was a great skit right there. AJ was on commentary for this match. JBL was out on vacation.
When they shot the skit with Nikki and Brie, Nikki ended it with a yes chant. Yes. And I would not have believed that this was possible, but it was actually worse than Vince's yes chant, which was an astonishing accomplishment.
Which makes it better, though. She's the heel.
That's right.
Doing bad yes chants.
That's right.
So AJ was great on commentary. First of all, just noting that Rose's costume, rather than a zombie nurse, she looked like a sexy used Band-Aid. And then she went off, not so subtle, at the whole notion that all women's Halloween costumes must be slutty. She called every woman's costume a sexy cave woman or a sexy Queen of Hearts or whatever, and then they were doing sexy kicks and a sexy elimination. Layla pulled the stuffing out of Paige's bra. I don't know who that's a joke on. And then Alicia speared Paige out of the ring, which left Nikki alone as the winner. So Nikki wins the Battle Royal and the title shot by standing there as everyone else eliminated each other.
Yeah, which was funny because then AJ made a comment about how Nikki finally earned something for once.
Yeah.
I was like, she didn't. She just stood there. They eliminated themselves. I also liked that, I didn't go back to watch it, but I believe that Cameron effectively eliminated herself. She, I don't know what the spot was supposed to be, but she essentially ran headfirst through the ropes and then got tossed out. Rose, of course, they got rid of immediately.
Yes.
And it was also funny because there was a moment on Total Divas where John Cena is doing this movie, and he has got a sex scene in the movie. And I forget the girl's name, but she used to date Dolph Ziggler. I think she's
Schumer.
Yeah,
Amy Schumer.
Amy Schumer. And she has a sex scene with John Cena.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's intriguing.
So Nikki's very upset about this whole idea that John Cena is doing a sex scene. So they get in this big argument and everything like that. And anyway, the point of all of this is John Cena has a bare ass scene in this movie. And so him and Nikki are having this discussion. And I believe that Nikki made some comment about how my bare ass is just off limits. You know, I'll do a whole bunch of sexy shoots, but I don't think I'd ever be able to show my bare ass. That's what she said. So here she was in her, what was she, Catwoman?
Black cat.
Bare ass everywhere. Fell off on the apron and ass fell out. I thought that was very ironic.
I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what to tell you. Go rewind it.
All right.
Kane versus Ziggler.
You're skipping a whole promo.
Am I?
Yeah, Kane and Seth Rollins came out for a promo.
Oh, that's right.
It was the show opening 20-minute boring promo, cleverly disguised as the second segment.
Yeah, I did write down here, they had a time-wasting promo followed by a time-wasting match.
Well, that is true. The only notable thing here is that when they did the Raw recap, they edited it so that it made it shorter, obviously, but they edited it as if Orton came out for a promo and then interrupted himself and this immediately hit an RKO and left. They took out the whole bit about being separated and Hunter telling them to calm down. Other than that, yes, a time-wasting promo that established nothing new. And then a time-wasting match that established nothing new, except that Dolph Ziggler, which is a loser, which is not new. What I love more than the promo or the match, and by love I mean hate.
Just if anybody was unclear.
The storyline is that every single wrestler on the entire roster is afraid that they do not have what it takes to overcome backstage politics.
Sure.
Because
a storyline that fans everywhere can really sink their teeth into.
I can't wait to see how this settles out on my twice weekly, 5 hours a week TV show. Who on earth, Michael Cole asked, is going to align themselves with John Cena and go against the Authority, a group that can bury your career before it even begins?
Yeah.
The storyline is every single wrestler on the roster is a pussy. Don't get mad at me.
Well, except Dolph Ziggler.
And Cena, I guess.
And John Cena, yeah.
But other than that.
Well, maybe we'll find out Monday who else is not a pussy.
Unless like 20 guys join Cena's team.
Well, that's not going to happen.
I know. So then Kane pinned Dolph with a chokeslam. As I wrote here, this whole company is being booked by meth addicts. And then they beat up Dolph for a while. And then Kane booked Dolph versus Seth. And Seth also beat Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
IC champion, everyone.
Complete waste of time.
Heath Slater was in the ring dressed like a scarecrow for a promo. And then Ryback came out and they had a match. This actually was great. Heath Slater, is there a Jobber Hall of Fame?
He should be in it.
He should be it. He's great.
I've mentioned before, there's nothing better than a guy who's been relegated to complete jobber status, and his mindset is, fuck it. I'll be the best jobber of all time.
Yeah. So he's out there in his scarecrow costume, and he tries to like point to the back in hopes, I guess, that Ryback will follow the flock or something, like a crow. Then they start to wrestle, and there's a straw flying everywhere. And Ryback grabs his hand, but it's part of the costume, and it yanks off. And so they're having a good old laugh about this. Slater screams, "I tricked the big guy." Ryback laughed, and Slater laughed. Then Ryback throws the hand straight up about 20 feet in the air. and Heath Slater attempted to jump and grab it in midair. And Ryback grabbed him and planted him with a spine buster. Awesome. And then Ryback hit the meat hook and the shell shock for the win. This was great.
This was like one of the only good things on the entire show.
Yeah.
Ryback as a singles guy has been gone forever. Tag team, I do not count as being a single, plus he's been gone.
Indeed.
So he comes back, and people are completely into him.
Yeah.
Because all the fans want nowadays is a big guy who beats people up and doesn't lose. So they may as well start over with him right now.
Sure.
Just don't beat him this time.
I know.
Just let him go out there
Let
and
that sink in.
beat up dudes for a long time until he's wherever you want him to be. How long before they screw it up? I give him about 2 months.
Adam Rose and the Rosebuds were trick-or-treating backstage. They found the Dust Brothers, who had no candy. They found Sin Cara in his mask, dressed as a Ninja Turtle. He gave them candy. They found a ghost, and they were scared, but it was R-Truth in a sheet. He was very excited to meet them all, especially the bunny. He asked Adam Rose, what's it like to be overshadowed by your own sidekick? And Rose tried to play it cool, but Truth was a complete asshole. And would not let the issue die. He kept bringing it up. And then he gave Adam Rose a rock, because he's a dick. And the party was confused.
They gave him a rock?
Yeah, they gave Truth gave Adam Rose a rock. Like Charlie Brown.
Oh, I see, for his candy bag.
Yeah.
I get it.
No.
Well, I think that, very obviously, the storyline is eventually Adam Rose is, in fact, going to turn on the bunny.
Yes.
And that will be his heel turn in the end of his career.
Yes.
It was, in fact, during this segment that I realized...
So casual about that.
This entire show. Listen, it is a race to the end of somebody's career. I'm going to tell you why. This is true, okay?
Okay.
Vince's right-hand man is Kevin Dunn.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Dunn hates Adam Rose.
Right.
So when Hunter and Steph take over, Kevin Dunn is out of here. So if they can take over before Dunn gets rid of Adam Rose, then Adam Rose will survive. If they don't, then Adam Rose has got a short career coming.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point of this is, the entire show was a waste of time. I figured it out during this segment. They knew, and they were right, by the way, that nobody was watching this show on Thanksgiving, or Halloween. So they didn't even try. Like, look at these segments. We had a Divas Battle Royal, which was a waste of time.
Yeah.
We had the Kane Ziggler promo and match, which was a waste of time. Rollins and Ziggler, a waste of time. At least they did something with Ryback, but it was Ryback and Heath Slater. It was a waste of time. And as we go through the rest of the show from this point forward, just take a look at what was a waste of time. And you will find that the answer is everything.
Should we just stop then?
No.
All right.
I was actually getting fascinated by this point.
Okay.
And what a complete waste of fucking time this show was.
Well, on that note, it was time for Miz TV.
You know why this pissed me off? It was
Miz
Miz
on TV?
TV with Mark Henry. Mark Henry just turned on the Big Show. He just turned heel. So Mark Henry's first big interview to explain why he turned heel, you put him in the ring with the Miz and Sandow, who were acting like complete idiots, and they just killed the entire segment. The fans gave Mark Henry the what treatment. It was impossible to take any of this seriously. And so right there, the first cannonball shot out of the cannon in this angle, it was dead. It was a dud. And then Henry and Show had a brawl, which left me with zero interest whatsoever in this feud. It sucked. A terrible waste of time segment.
The only two things I will note here is they showed footage from Hell in a Cell. And you recall that Henry had been at ringside and then kicked, and he had disappeared for the finish of the match. And they had a video from that show of Rusev putting Big Show in the camel clutch and Big Show tapping out. And then they panned over to Mark Henry the apron with a giant smile on his face.
Yes.
Miz was an actual investigative journalist. He tracked down and leaked this footage.
Great.
To expose Henry's true motives. The other great part was Henry running down Show He said, I am an Olympian. I am the world's strongest man. You are just a tall guy with an overactive pituitary gland.
That was funny.
Fact.
Yeah, well, not anymore, but essentially that's what happened.
Yeah. So, yes, they had a brawl, and Henry left Big Show laying. Gold and Stardust versus Los Matadors. Dust Brothers cut an inset promo saying they were available to be on Team Authority or Team Cena.
Wow.
Yeah. So the Matadors wiped out Goldust with a double tope. Then Stardust wiped them out with the diving ass attack. And then he and Goldust tried to double team Torito, but Torito made a one bull comeback, wiped them both out, and then one of the Matadors pinned Goldust with a roll up. And you could argue this is a distraction finish, and they do too many of these, and that's true. But I was fine with this because it was not the Matadors distracting the heels; it was the heels distracting themselves, choosing to stop wrestling to go be big mean bullies, and then getting their just desserts in the end.
Yeah.
I was fine with this.
Yeah, this was fine. I enjoyed this little segment. It was not a complete waste of time, but there was nothing to write home about.
Well, no. Eric Rowan.
Oh, God. This fucking thing. Keep in mind, everybody, this is Eric Rowan's first appearance back.
In months.
Since they did a bunch of vignettes about how this dude's being repackaged.
Yes.
So just keep that in mind when you hear about this segment. If you didn't see this segment, we're not making this segment up.
So Eric Rowan is backstage, sitting on a couch in his sheet mask, watching what I assume was See No Evil. Or maybe the second one. But it was clearly a horror movie. There were scared teenagers everywhere. And then Kane walked in. He looked at Rowan in the sheet mask. He looked at the screen. He sat down. Rowan slowly pulled up his mask, told Kane, "You scared me," and then put the mask back on. Kane was a little confused, but he looked back at the TV and said, "This is my favorite scene." And there were two scared teenagers there, and just before we could see how they died a bloody death, the whole thing broke up into a graphics display and they went to commercial. Yes, it is very, very stupid that this is Eric Rowan's first appearance back in months. This is a poor, poor, poor debut.
Everybody is a clown on this fucking show.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yeah.
It sucked.
It made me laugh at least. Hey.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow. It made me laugh too. It made me laugh tears of I don't even know what.
Speaking of horror shows.
Hey, at least this was short.
Rusev versus Khali. It was, in fact, short.
At least one guy got over. That's more than I can say for anybody else on this show except for Ryback.
Yeah. So the crowd chanted USA, and Rusev was confused and waved at Khali as if to say, he's from India. So Rusev won in a minute.
God, it sucked.
Lana announced that they were not her usual stuff. Then Rusev cut a great promo.
They got a new assignment from Russia, she said.
Mother Russia.
And the assignment was, keep it up.
That's essentially true. Continue to further destroy the deteriorating American spirit.
A hell of an assignment.
Then Rusev cut a great promo. He said, I have beaten real Americans. I have beaten strongest Americans. I have beaten giant Americans. Next, I am going to crush the American champion.
I thought he was talking about Brock.
He's not that dumb. No, he vowed to take the U.S. title from Sheamus, and then he would give it to the true leader of men, Vladimir Putin.
Who better turn that fucking thing down if he knows what's good for his country.
Apparently. Because that belt will destroy the country. So
if we have another Cold War, send him the U.S. title.
I just like that what we had here was a badass dude, an ass-kicking dude, talking about all the ass he had kicked in the past and all the ass he hoped to kick in the future. Great.
That's right.
That's all I want.
And then the Irishman came out to defend the U.S.
The Irishman came out to defend the U.S. He said he'd been known this was coming for a while. He said he took pride in being U.S. champion and everything it stood for. He hit the ring.
Everything it stands for.
Losing.
Being a jobber.
He hit the ring for a brawl, but Rusev bailed. I thought this segment was perfect.
It was very good. An actual rare good segment on this program.
That was not a waste of time, to be fair. Bray Wyatt came out for a promo. Very strange to see him all by himself now. It was one of his more coherent promos.
I guess. He came, again, another guy that's been gone for months to be repackaged, and he comes back and he does the exact same promo.
He talked about everyone who loved to dress up for Halloween as an escape, but for him and Dean Ambrose, they were the same every day. And he could only imagine. He said he knew Dean very well, so he knew how angry Dean was, and then he told him to follow the buzzards.
Yippee.
And the main event was the trick or street fight. The hours on plane flights and bus rides. I wasn't thinking of that name. So it was Dean Ambrose versus Cesaro in a street fight with Halloween props everywhere. Broomsticks and pumpkins and buckets of candy and bucket full of apples for bobbing and all that stuff. The best part to me is Dean is whacking on Cesaro on the floor with a skeleton. And Cesaro cuts him off, and he grabs Dean in one arm and the skeleton in the other and hits a double suplex.
He did.
That was great.
My favorite part was Cesaro, there are pumpkins all over. And so Cesaro decides, this is how I'm going to take this fucker out. I am going to lay pumpkins all over the ring, and I'm going to slam him into these pumpkins. So he starts laying all these pumpkins down, and I was watching with Whitty, and the first thing she says is, there's stems everywhere.
Yes.
And so, Cesaro lays down all the pumpkins, and to cut to the chase, you know that Cesaro is the one that's going to end up going into the pumpkins. So before he goes into the pumpkins, they tease a bump into the pumpkins. And so they do that by having Cesaro grab Ambrose, and he threatens a suplex. And there's a brief moment where Cesaro is about to do the suplex, and he turns around and he looks at the pumpkins, and you can tell that he's thinking, oh shit, there's stems everywhere. But there's nothing you can do about it now. And so later, he got backdropped right onto all the stems.
And he did not take this the easy way out.
No.
He went as high for this backdrop as he could.
Oh, yeah.
And he got down on the pumpkins and those goddamn stems.
Yep.
I bet this sucked.
I bet he learns his lesson next year and takes those stems off.
Next year he'll do the
and they were all carved.
Easter parade where there's flowers everywhere.
Yeah, they were all carved, so you could have just pulled off every single one of the stems, but he decided he wasn't going to do it.
Yeah. So the end was something they built up to the entire time. Dean got one of the pumpkins, the jack-o'-lanterns, I should say. He put it on Cesaro's head, hit a DDT for the win, and then Cesaro did a great job of stumbling around after the match with the pumpkin on his head, and Dean cut him off in another one, and that was it.
Second one was awesome because Cesaro had the pumpkin on his head, and when he took the DDT, it broke on impact, and he just laid there balanced on his head, surrounded by a broken pumpkin. That was great.
Yeah, I thought this was much better than most Smackdowns.
There you go, everybody. That was SmackDown. Let's do a quick song interlude, and then we shall move on.